15 seconds gone already. But, us at Group 2 are very diverse. So we had some people who are doing agro processing, conservation, supporting technical and vocational small enterprises. So it was, and also we had people from umbrella organizations like Ashoka and Yunus. So this was kind of, it was very interesting how we all came together. In terms of SDGs, we touch all of them because the umbrella organizations touch all of them. So everything is covered. And in terms of in terms of power of collaboration, one thing we realized is we're able to create linkages. One, the umbrella organizations already create those linkages, but also the organizations that were sitting together create linkages with different, from community to government, so different sectors of society. And one thing that was also really important is this organizations, umbrella organizations, provide the opportunity for smaller social enterprises and other organizations to also speak with one voice. So that was essential. And another thing that was important was that we touched on that intra-sectorial collaboration. So private sector, government, third sector, all coming together. So there was really like, our concept is very abstract. It's symbiotic relationships. And it's really understanding that by working together, we can all reach our goals faster. So thank you.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. Our businesses, I think I'll just go straight. We have Clean Start, we have Aline, some membership organization like Ashoka. We have an organization called Basic Needs, and we have Palladium that is in youth employment, creating youth employment opportunities. So the different industries we identified are youth and women, climate change, and digital innovation. So the SDGs that we are checking between ourselves is health, that is SDG 3, climate action, SDG 13, poverty, no poverty, that's SDG 1, food security, that's SDG 2, and gender equality, which is number 5. So our co-created concept, we are looking at how we can empower all of us. We discovered that in our different initiatives, we are touching on youth and women. So we want to empower youth and women through entrepreneurship opportunities like agribusiness and other different ones in different value chains by change making. And we also realize that for our youth to be resilient and empowered, they need mental health. So we have psychosocial support coming in there. And we are also saying that we need resilience because our youth need to be resilient. So we are looking at how can they be resilient. One of the ways of being resilient is, of course, ensuring that they can be able to be flexible around the climate change adversities, mental health issues, and that's why we have psychosocial support. But above all, we are saying that all these initiatives are digitally enabled through leveraging on ICT, which is supported by one of us there. So what's the power of our collaboration? We are saying that we're going to reach increased numbers of youth and women, ensuring that they are empowered, they are resilient, and that we are all going to leverage on the different synergies that we are having in our different organizations, and ensuring that we ride on the networks, which increases our bandwidth, and so we can be able to achieve all this. Thank you.
The beauty of this is knowing that we are all social animals. In fact, like I keep on saying, Africans, we are social by nature. So even as we learn about collaboration, it's not difficult for us because it comes naturally. We like to collaborate. We like to learn from each other. We like to feel good about what we know and not hold it too close to our chest. I mean, that's who we are.
So collaboration comes very, very easily for us. And that's why I know that as Africa, we'll be able to collaborate better than any other region. And today, because it's Africa Day for not just Kenya, but other parts of Africa, we have several launches happening right now. We have Kenya, we have Nigeria, South Africa, and there's Liberia, I think. So you see, we are all launching today, and many others will follow suit. But because we are among the first ones to launch, we want to show people how it's done. And then you will see, because I hope that you will stay on until after the official launch, because we have another program called Africa Forward, which is, we're bringing in other people in that forum, and we're going to stream it here at 5. And it's about changing the narrative, saying that when funding comes to Africa, we want 50% of that funding to pass through African-formed organizations. So I want you to be part of that discussion so that we begin to see how we are moving this. And everybody here who is not registered as a member of Catalyst 2030, please, we have recorded you as a member. So make sure that do the needful to continue being a member. Are we at 3? Oh, okay. So at exactly 3, I want us to stand for the national anthem. Let's get the cue to stand. Are we ready? Okay. So then I wanted to therefore tell you a little more about Catalyst 2030, if it's not yet 3. Gadoni, you can put your finger up if I need to stop. Oh, I'm already live. Okay, fair enough. Our visitors online, this is how we operate. So don't worry that we're asking questions. We are free like that. We're not so formal. So we start with the national anthem at exactly 3, but I want to tell you a little about Catalyst 2030. It was formed in 2020, and it was formed by the big 5, what we call the big 5 social entrepreneur supporting organizations that include Ashoka. And we have Vincent here, who is from Ashoka. We have other organizations like Echo in Green. We have Swab Foundation and others like that. So who came together and said, if we continue the way we are working, we'll never meet SDGs in 2030. So Catalyst 2030, therefore, was formed as a movement to catalyze the SDGs so that we meet them in 2030, at the opportune time. And the only way this can happen is by us changing how we think, how we work, how we do things. And one of the things is collaboration. How do we must collaborate, we must convene, we must co-create. And therefore, we have to kill the silos. If we are doing, and that's why this exercise was so important, because we are saying we have people from different organizations there, and we have similar problems. I mean, that you discovered you all had similar problems. Then why are we working in all the 5 organizations and not co-creating already? Because one person is richer in, say, for example, youth mindsets. The other one is better in entrepreneurship training. The other one is better in this and the other, ICT. So when we come together, we can only make it better. So let's begin to do that. And with that, can we all rise? And we'll start with the national anthem. That's our national anthem, and we're very proud of it. I don't know whether it was projected in English for those who may not have understood. but it's a song that is an anthem that praises who we are as a Kenya, and talks about the fact that we are Black people in a green land, and a lot of blood went for the freedom that we achieved eventually. That's in a nutshell. So I'm very excited to welcome you to the launch of Catalyst 2030 Kenya chapter. We have currently 52 members, and in this launch, we agreed to have a face-to-face meeting because the members indicated that one of the things that we must do so well in is gatherings where we come together, we learn from each other, and not do more of the Zoom. We have done enough Zoom post-COVID, COVID and post-COVID, and now we need to just come together and begin to enjoy each other's company. So this morning, we had that activity that we had on power of collaboration. It just explains how it's so easy for us to collaborate. We sat and we were 3 groups, and the 3 groups didn't know each other before. They had never met before, and they were given an exercise to look at their strengths and co-create and come up with a concept that can be funded. And I'm happy to say that the 3 concepts that were developed today can actually be funded. They can actually, can I say, stand the test of the day, and therefore that's exciting, because if we were to give it a lot more time, or a little more time, we'd be able to do even greater with the co-creation and collaboration. So our other priority as a Kenya chapter is strengthening the social entrepreneurship sector in Kenya. And this is only possible, again, through collaboration and building strategic partnerships with the government, the private sector, and other civil society organizations. So we thank the government of Kenya that has been very supportive to date. They have accorded us a lot of support through the SME advisory unit. And today we have Ms. Noreen Thiga, who is representing the SME advisory unit, which is a part of the government's office. She'll tell us more about it when she comes on board, so that I don't misrepresent them. Then we also want to thank our other partners. We have Ashoka, which is represented today by Vincent Odhiambo, who is the regional, what's your title, Vincent? Regional? He's the head of the region. I think that's what it means. And he's been supporting us in many ways, and we will begin to collaborate with them and ensure that more is happening. Yeah. So we also want to recognize each and every person who is here, members of Catalyst 2030 Kenya chapter. The video is a video showing these members. Can the people online see our members? Hey, let's put our hand up and just be excited about being members of Catalyst 2030. Great. And then the other person I want to acknowledge is Jero. Jero is Bella Moria, is our CEO at the Global Office, the Secretariat. She's been extremely supportive of this chapter, and she believes that the power or systems change will only happen at the level of the country. So in fact, she sent a message which will be streaming immediately after my talk here. And I also want to acknowledge Brian Maina, who is a regional coordinator for Africa. He happens to be a Kenyan. It's just by chance, but Kenyans are good in what they do. So we are happy that he's a Kenyan, and he's the one coordinating the whole of Africa. And he's also been extremely supportive in the work that we're doing. So I think over to the video. Let's see what Jero had to tell us today. And thank you again for being here and being part of this so important launch. I know we'll be looking at this a few years from now and remembering that we here started this movement, and now we are seeing the impact of this. And we're making systems change in a collaborative way. Wow, how great would that be? Thank you.
Yay, congrats on the launch of your country chapter. For me, it's truly, truly inspiring to see the membership come together to launch a chapter, because that's what shows the power of the collective, the power of all of us coming together, working together to see the change we wish to happen, and to leverage our the achievement of the SDGs to accelerate, seeing the change in our country, to accelerate and to be able to make sure that we all work together to give every person in the world a great quality of life, to make every person feel cherished. And we can all do it together. So a big, big, big congrats to all for launching today. And it's being me, so welcome to the Catalyst family, and a big hug. Yay! Bye. Take care. Bye.
That's Jero. And I want to invite Vincent Othiambo, who is the regional director, Ashoka East Africa. And I got it right this time. And after he tells us about who is an entrepreneur, because we're talking about entrepreneurs making an impact. Who are these guys? We need to know who these guys are. Yeah, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Omwe. And congratulations to all Catalyst 2030 members who are here. This is a big day. Now, promise that I'm going to do this within the 10 minutes that have been allocated, or even less, because what I'm about to talk about is something that most of us, if not all of us in this room, know about. But I promise to tell you something that you probably don't know, or something that you know, and maybe just confirming it from a different voice. I also promise to tell you about social entrepreneurship or social entrepreneurs, how we conceive of them, and what we see them doing, especially when you talk about transforming systems. I will also tell you about what, in my sense, is the way forward. And of course, why I'm excited to be here and why this is a big deal for us also as an organization. And that's probably where I need to start, why I'm thrilled to be amongst all these leaders, innovators, social entrepreneurs. First and foremost, this is a family affair. It is a family affair in the sense that Jero, who just spoke, founder of Catalyst 2030, is an Ashoka Fellow. It is also a family affair in the sense that Wamuyu, who is chairing this, is also an Ashoka Fellow. It is also, in a sense, a family affair. Looking across the room, I can see James Ngu, an Ashoka Fellow, Sam Agutu, an Ashoka Fellow. So, in a way, I feel at home. But most importantly, and the reason why I'm probably more thrilled, is not just because it is a family event in that sense, where if you miss, you probably will be blacklisted. It is also because together with other partners, Echoing Green, Shop Foundation, and the rest, Catalyst 2030 has become a home. And you know what they say, home is, yeah, home
Where
is
the heart
best.
is.
At Ashoka, we will definitely say home is where everyone is a change maker, because we are obsessed with the whole notion of change making. Now, social entrepreneurship, I think, is a term that has been defined variously in different quarters. People get to touch it differently. It's probably like an elephant. So depending on where you're touching, you want to believe this is it. Our founder, Bill Drayton, talks about teaching. This is popular. We always say, don't teach people how to fish. No, don't give people fish. You do what? You teach them how to fish. But for Bill Drayton, and that is probably the nexus upon which we define social entrepreneurship, he says, don't give people fish. Don't teach them how to fish. Teach them how to revolutionize the fishing industry. And that is basically where our understanding of social entrepreneurship as Ashoka, sort of finds its bearing. So we look at social entrepreneurs as men and women who are innovating solutions, not just thinking at the direct level, but thinking how can this solution really transform a system. But before I get into that, a little bit of that, maybe for those of you who don't know about Ashoka, I can take a minute to just tell you about Ashoka. So Ashoka is credited to be the organization that popularized the term and the concept of social entrepreneurship. And we have been in existence now for about 40 years plus in over 90 countries across the world. And that doesn't mean anything if we don't talk about the impact of our work. Well, the three fellows that I've mentioned who are seated in this room, talk to them, you'll begin to see why we are also celebrated as the number 5, as the 5th NGO in terms of impact. We work with leading social entrepreneurs through a very rigorous process of selecting them, so that by the time someone becomes an Ashoka Fellow, joins the Ashoka Fellowship Network, they have a solution that is just not one of those solutions, but really a solution that is geared towards effecting systems level change. And the way they do this is in different forms, which I will also just touch on a little bit. In East Africa, we have 90 of these fellows, but across the world, we have 4,000, including Gerald that I mentioned. In East Africa, we have 90, with Kenya having the bigger, the majority. And maybe just by a show of hands, James, I keep on saying James and Sam, and of course, some of you, or the fellows who are here, they make up the majority of fellows in East Africa. And so we also learn from them. And I think one of the most important things that we've learned from them is really how do you effect system level change? Leave alone the definition of what a social entrepreneur is, because people will define it differently. People will say a social entrepreneur is anyone, a man and a woman, who feels compelled to come up with a solution around a certain challenge and work towards impact. But from that definition, from the analogy that I gave you that Bill talks about, don't teach people don't give people fish, don't teach them how to fish, teach them how to revolutionize fishing industry. For us, we see social entrepreneurs as men and women who are purpose-driven, who are relentless. They don't stop they come against barriers and challenges, but they still go forth until the solution that they're working on gets to bring about transformative change, transformative systems change. And maybe this is where I can share how we've learned from them, what we've learned from them in terms of what are they doing. When you talk about transforming systems, we see them and I think during the presentations, you can tell some of these ideas that we have just generated within very few minutes would probably be headed towards these 5 directions. One, they're keen on policy change. They want to ensure that whatever solution that they're working on is able to transcend direct service, indirect service, to system level change, where the actual challenge is seated. And this is across all different sectors. And if you look at our, the network of our fellows, we see over 80% of them, in few years after election, they're really keen on driving their solutions toward a system level change. The other thing that they do is they look at market dynamics and value chain. I don't know, someone like James can talk more about that because of the work that he's been doing, but they focus on one, creating market where none existed. They also pay attention to creating source of income to those who are marginalized or those who didn't have income. They also look at making it easier within the value chain, providing information where probably information was not reaching, providing access to goods and services, or increasing access to goods or services. So it is policy change, looking at market dynamics. Then they are also big on supporting, we are seeing almost 90% of them. They're keen on supporting young people. They're keen on supporting the next generation of social entrepreneurs. And this they do in various ways, either through direct training or bringing in young people into their spaces of work to learn about social entrepreneurship. And that's how we as Ashoka, we believe we will get to a point where challenges are outmatched with solutions. If we can create a world where we have all these young people that we are seeing right now, we can categorize them in so different ways. We can call them different names. It will be a time bomb. But if we can empower them, then we have the future social entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. Because from these social entrepreneurs, what we are learning is that there are critical skills for one to really succeed as a social entrepreneur. and not just as a social entrepreneur, but for one to really succeed in this 21st century world. And these skills are the skills that we are calling change making. I think in my group we were talking about change making, and that was just thrown out there. And I always tell people this, I always share this because I find it really important. I find it really profound. When a couple of years ago during, this is America politics, during the Democratic Party convention, Bill Clinton introduced Hillary Clinton as a change maker. And that probably would have gone unnoticed. But for those who are keen, there was something about that title, that name appearing in Bill Clinton's speech. It means that the world is beginning to acknowledge that for us to really get to where we want to go, for us to really outmatch the challenges that we are seeing, and some of them are really compounding at a very fast rate, then we have to get everyone self-identifying as a change maker and practicing change making. And what is this? I think it's important for me to mention this so that then we put into context why social entrepreneurs are the caliber of people that they are, why social entrepreneurship is a paradigm that should really be, where the funding should be getting into. We are talking about people who are driven by cognitive empathy. There is no way you're going to think about solving another person's problem or challenge if you don't feel that it affects you. So it takes someone with a certain degree of empathy, and this is what we're calling cognitive empathy. And we see it amongst all the 4,000 social entrepreneurs in our network as Ashoka Fellows. The second thing that we are seeing with them is creative problem solving. The idea of direct service is basically good. It's excellent. We need more teachers, so that kids can access education. We need more schools. But what is it that is in the education system that is not allowing more people to, come up with schools or establish schools? What is it within the system? This is a policy. So it is creative problem solving that moves them from the direct to more of a system level change. The other thing that we are seeing with these social entrepreneurs, and I'm saying this because I know these are things that you already identify with, not necessarily the Ashoka Fellows who are in our network, but every other social entrepreneur, any social entrepreneur who's really self-defined as a social entrepreneur, these are things that you can easily identify with. The other thing that we're seeing with them is leadership. There is this new sense of leadership. And I always say, for someone like Pamuyu here, a very good demonstration of what new leadership is all about. She's one person comes into a space and will try and move barriers for other people to also step in and thrive. That is new leadership. It is the kind of leadership that does not rest in sense of authority, in sense of this is my position, but creating space for everyone else to find their superpower, to find where they can thrive, and to also be of impact. The fourth thing that we're saying, we're seeing with these social entrepreneurs, and this is still by way of defining what social entrepreneurship is about and who are social entrepreneurs, is what we are about here. The exercise that we just did, the collaboration. We are seeing more challenges are not only geographical in nature, like if it is an issue here in Kenya, we cannot sit pretty, or let me just say Nairobi, if you're saying this is a Nairobi issue, we cannot sit pretty and say, oh, for those who are in Kisumu or Mombasa or Nyeri, this is not affecting them. It is an interlinked world. We are seeing that even globally. It is interlinked world already. So collaboration is key. Collaboration is one of those driving forces for social entrepreneurs, always keen on finding other sectors that they can work with. And we see in terms of systems change, many social entrepreneurs are now moving towards more of hybrid kind of models. You'll find they have a for-profit model and also, the social, the impact focusing, side of their venture. And that's how we achieve systems change. And so for me, I said less than 10 minutes because I know this is something that you already know, or I'm just reinforcing something that you already know. But it is really a pleasure to be with all of you as we launch this. And we are really happy that this is happening. Who wouldn't want to be part of a global movement, especially when it is brought at home? Is there anyone? We'll definitely want to be. So this is a huge opportunity. Sometimes, when you write opportunity is here without spacing the words, it can also read as opportunities nowhere. You can try it. So for us, what we are saying is that this is an absolute opportunity. And so my sense in terms of where we need to go from here is that we are all on the same page when we say there are so many challenges, there are so many problems, and we cannot solve them alone. We cannot be all these different islands of excellence where what we are doing, people are celebrating, our target groups are celebrating, but we don't know what else is happening. So the way forward is just collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. Let's catalyze as we go forward. Thank you.
TAMCA's community-based organization helps children, young people, and adults of age 10 to 24 to grow and develop their mental health awareness through sports using this kit bag tool.
We mobilize volunteers from the technical and vocational business community to offer free and affordable training to the vulnerable youth and women in our society.
We are working closely with the Ministry of Health and also the government of Kenya in implementing policies that help enhance the adolescent health rights and services so that the youth can have
we are initiating a number of programs encouraging planting of trees and even reviving our ecosystem. Climate change has become a reality, and we believe that through initiatives at grassroots level, we will create a lot of impact.
The two key items they committed to skilling Kenyan youth to technical trades, training them, making sure they get an application, making sure they understand the right pathways nationally and internationally so that they cannot be jobless.
Let's give them a clap. Let's give Vincent.
I've had entrepreneurship explained many times. I mean, as you can imagine, because I am a lot of times with other social entrepreneurs. But today's explanation by Vincent was first class. Let's give him a huge clap for it. You perfected this. I need to learn from you how to say this. You've really, really perfected it. And then you saw our social entrepreneurs, some of them right here. Gori, yes, that is Gori. You saw Gori. Who else is here from the video? Others, oh yes, of course. We have our entrepreneurs here. We'll be playing that video as we are cutting the cake. So you'll be able to get the names of the people. This clip didn't take the names, but the one that follows will have the names of everybody. So it is now my pleasure to invite our chief guest this afternoon. And we want to listen to what she has to say so that after that now we can have a cake and begin to socialize. You know, we want to have both. We want to have speeches, people tell us things we don't know. And then after that, we want to also socialize and enjoy a piece of cake and some coffee, you know. And then if we want to dance, we can dance, you know, because the music is there. So we welcome you, Noreen Ndega, who is the Director, Programs, Management, and Operations at the SME Advisory, which is the Executive Office of the President. Welcome, Noreen. And as I said, they've really supported us. Karibu sana.
Good afternoon. Hey, have people had lunch? I see shiny, beautiful, and handsome faces. So good afternoon. I love it. Thank you. My name is Noreen Ndega, as mentioned by Mrs. Mahinda. Thank you very much for the invite. It's my pleasure to be here. I manage the programs and operations at the SME Advisory Unit, which is a department that is housed within the Executive Office of the President. So, you know, like, you know, in any company, the way you have procurement and you have all those departments, Well, at State House and at the Office of the President, we have a department that is solely dedicated to matters SME. So we work from an advisory point of view, but with the SME system being what it is, we end up finding ourselves coordinating programs and also directing how policy should go. Because we've taken a different approach as a department, whereby we work from the ground. Now we're in a political season, so we no longer say this, but I'll just deploy it for the afternoon. We work from the bottom upwards, whereby we interact with traders in their trading places, get their views. Actually, that was our phrase. So, no, seriously, that was the SME unit's phrase. So the first time we had it, we were like, anyway, it means people are listening. So we go to the trading places, the markets, interact with the traders, find out what it is that they need. And thereby you'll find that actually the solutions lie with the entrepreneurs, which is a different approach and which we've seen results, because traditionally, decisions would be made in the boardroom and then deployed to, and then entrepreneurs are wondering, where is the government and what is it doing? So this has been now adopted by different government agencies and ministries, and we can now start seeing the fruits. As a unit, we choose to look at specific value chains, especially the value chains that have numbers, because with government, it's numbers that speak, or rather it's numbers that will have the government stop on its tracks, yeah? Nimoibia series. So if you go for a meeting, you just get your numbers right, and you make sure when you go there, you're saying you're representing 100 or 200 people, and everything stops. They stop to listen. She's nodding, so she knows she's been through that. So when we looked at the different value chains, I'll talk about one value chain that we looked at, which was the fashion and textiles. Fashion and textiles plays an integral part within the whole Kenya economic system, whereby it employs many, and yet it also brings a lot of revenue for our GDP. But yet it's not given the seriousness, or rather it was not given the seriousness. And when we call the stakeholders for a meeting, and we ask them, like, do you know your value? And, at the meeting, they just wanted to say, watu wa mitumba, people of the secondhand, they're spoiling our business. So the first 3 meetings were of trying to make them understand what is their value towards the economy. It is an industry that is able to generate billions of dollars, not even Kenya shillings, of dollars. So we told them, listen, put the mitumba people aside, focus on yourselves. What is it that you can do together? And at first they did not say it. So it took about 2 years for us to register them. That's point number 2, how you interact with the government. You have to be a registered entity. So it took 2 years of hand working and working with them, getting them to formalize and then register. So once they registered as the Kenya Fashion Council, they could immediately see the results, because then COVID came upon. And when COVID came upon, remember the country, we were all confused. What we were seeing was in China, people wearing the masks, but no one knew where to get the masks from and all that. So they were very, very fast on their feet, and they created the prototype. The masks that were actually being done, being manufactured locally, using the prototype done by the Kenya Fashion Council. So they came to us with that prototype for 2 meetings, and they said people are not listening to them. So we walked them over, we went with them to KEBS, and KEBS didn't even have a standard of certifying them. They didn't even know how to certify masks. So they said, give us some time. Kenya Fashion Council, they were very proactive. They reached out to WHO and asked for, the standards. So they took those standards to KEBS and said, yeah, from WHO, now certify us. So they got the certification, and quickly they circulated, that to the markets. And this immediately, we could see in Gikomba market, people who were doing clothes or people who were trading in Mutumba, now people started leasing machines to do the masks. And then we had all these masks, the Vitenge masks, the ones branded, I Love Nairobi, and all those, and your names, and Manchester United, we had them on the streets. And then they moved a notch higher and, decided they're going to also do clinical masks. And by this time, they had a lot of people now turning to look at them. Please let me remind you, these are people, when we started walking this journey with them, if you've dealt with designers, okay, we'll say creatives. Let's use creatives. You're dealing with headstrong people, and you're dealing with people who it revolves around my art. So trying to even get them to look at tailors and appreciate them, or try to look at the importers. Everyone was an enemy when we were starting. But now with this pandemic that faced us, they were now coming together to look for businesses, talking to the importers to get these materials, because locally, the materials are not available, calling on the tailors, and now we have a strong outfit today as we stand. The Kenya Fashion Council has the importers as members. It has markets. It has Jogorod. It has also the Nairobi Tailors Association, which has over 18,000 members just in Nairobi, and that is a national network. So you see now that showed them that through collaboration, they were able to achieve, they were able to meet the targets that they had been set for by Safaricom, and they were also able to supply other companies when they were working together as a unit. So that is what we encourage. We encourage them to come together, whatever value chain we're looking at, because we look at different value chains. And I'll quickly even just mention another value chain, the woodwork and metalwork. They used to come and say, all these buildings coming up, how come we don't get to play a part in it? And this is Ngong Road, Kamkunji, and Kariobangi, okay? So we asked them, can you work together? And they said, I do woodwork, this one does metalwork, how do we work together? So you see, we had to now again take them through that socialization process of making them understand that you actually need each other. For you to be able to do a big thing, you actually need someone else's support. So they came together and they formed Gokamka. And through Gokamka, we were able to now sit down in tables with them and negotiate with the Chinese for them to be able to be included into the contracts. So they were now given doors and frames, fittings, because we agreed that they will begin at that level. Because first they were given much more to do, but then we realized the financing, they'll need the financing and the capital, which would have now become a headache. So we negotiated for them to get the fittings, and they did even just Park Road. And through Park Road, they were able to get 250 million, the three groups collectively, in profits. And also they were able to negotiate for 55 units for their members. So, it's through this, and now they appreciate that they're being called by counties, it's being translated into policy. So, when you show that you can actually work together and the results are good, then everything turns around. So even the things that you were complaining about, like back to the Fashion Council, that the Mitumba are finishing our business, they realize, no, we actually need these people. So now they're even now talking to the Mitumba people and saying, why don't we go back to the government and get a special economic zone, whereby you bring in those Mitumbas, we value add them, and then we take them back to Europe. Apparently there's a layer of secondhand clothes that's called cream. So it's really good. So what was happening before was the ones in the know were waiting for it to come, like leather bags, leather jackets, leather boots. They sort them out and they take them back to Europe and they sell them for a kill. And these people are doing very well. And they were operating within the same circles of the Gikomba people, only that most were not even Kenyan nationals. So now when the fashion people actually saw the numbers and the Mitumba people saw the numbers, they put all the differences aside. Nowadays, they call us for launch of reports. The other day, they did a beautiful report on how they will run the special economic zone. They paid professionals to even do that report for them. And the report is out, and now they're coming to us with how to implement it. So collaboration works. And today, as we celebrate, the Kenyan chapter of the Catalyst 2030, we know we are headed in the right direction. The SDGs sometimes seem veered off because sometimes with government, policies overtake policies. But with such organizations that are supported and committed to getting us to where it is that we're supposed to go, I think it will shorten the time. And for social entrepreneurs, I think it would be good for them to know that they belong to an outfit that is not just local. It has a voice, across the continent. And we'll move at our pace. As Kenya, as a country, we'll move at our pace on the SDGs, but then we'll have, we'll have the catalyst now pushing us and showing us this is where you need to go and this is where you need to correct. And social entrepreneurship in Kenya will always be a big deal. Will always be a big deal. In a room such as this, if I would ask how many were raised by entrepreneurial parents, just by a show of hands. Your mother was a tailor, your mother, whatever entrepreneurship they did, you see, 80%. And that sticks still today, that entrepreneurship is what drives the economy of the country. So for us as a unit, what we always ask is give it a bit of more seriousness. We try and negotiate in boardrooms to try and push agendas here and there, but we also don't forget the people who are out there. And we appreciate partners such as the Kenya Catalyst because they add so much value. Now we are working with one of our members on the Kazi Mtaani project, which is in its phase 3. And I saw in the presentation toolkit, I skills toolkit, we keep forgetting with the ministry how to toolkit iSkills. So we've had now numerous meetings with them and PS Hinga, they've been brought on board, and they will see how it is that Kazi Mtaani is elevated to another level, whereby we train these young youths on how to equip them with skills, proper skills. So if you're interested in masonry or plumbing or interior design, whatever it is that you'll be doing for Kazi Mtaani phase 3, which will be plugging into affordable housing program, they will see how they can get certification. And it's beautiful because even the government agencies, NCA, NITA, everyone has stopped what it is that they're doing to actually listen to Toolkit because they're the professionals, right? So we're very excited. So we're very, very excited because with such a collaboration, then we'll be able to see good results from Kazi Mtaani. That way, people will not say our youths, the other faces, people said, oh, youths will ambiwa to sweep the streets and to clear the trenches and not understanding that during COVID, that actually played a very big game for the youths. So now at least we'll be getting certified plumbers once this is done, and it has been held off. So Kazi Mtaani will be rolled out during the election period so that we can have our youths engaged during that period. And it will be national, and payments will always be on time like the previous one. So, and that this is happening through collaboration. At the end of the day, let's be reminded the government is here to create the right environment for you as a citizen, for you as an entrepreneur, or for you as someone who calls themselves a Kenyan. So through such collaborations is only when we can now achieve the big goals that we have as a country to be able to take us from this level to the next level. So congratulations, Catalyst 2030, the Kenya chapter. I am very happy to be here today to witness this because I know more collaborations are going to come from the members from this room, and we are here. I've just given you examples, so now you know it's an open door policy. Mrs. Mahinda can bring you anytime with your brilliant ideas, and we will see where to plug in and work together collaboratively. Asanteni.
Thank you so much, Noreen, for that wonderful speech that has summarized everything that SME Advisory is doing with us, and one that already is showing how collaboration works. So I don't need to even add anything. It was a complete speech. Let's give her a big. Okay, now we have a poem that's been put together by a social entrepreneur. You'll enjoy it. Let me not tell you about it. Poem.
Is the dream of social entrepreneurs and communities across Kenya to find opportunity in what we have and turn it into something transformative. When the chair asked me to share a poem for this special occasion, it's the wonder and diversity of Kenya and the Kenyan people that I wanted to share with you. I walked and wiped away trees in bloom at the edge of the Rift Valley. buzz, each with its own bee, more magnificent than the north young cherry tree in spring. I stopped a man for the there just after he passed a herd of zebra. He greeted me, invited me to his home, told me the tree's local name, Colorway. I had driven past canola fields and Timao, yellow explosive lemons, past bus stops where workers wait for a ride home, a chance to tend to their gardens before dark. Its arrival held a toddler and now who will care for it when he is gone? Cave paintings already colliding with graffiti, ungovernable youth. The water, voluminous and ageless. A million metals glimmer on 1,000 hills. Run down terraces where dreams are planted and sanctified in the sun. I have camped on a homestead situated on an inheritance of banana suckers and tea bushes in Yamira, where the night watched valleys momentarily fluorescent until thunder strikes. I have shared a countryside with a parade of elephants, moms and their babies, blue-headed guinea fowls staring at their heels, each one beautiful and beloved. I have relished friendship in the gift of Bambarana, laden with rituals from Kakamega, shared in Shingadam's tastiest catfish, watched cashews ignite in their shells until that anarchic acid is burnt black and breakable. There, near the ocean at Tiwi and everywhere, food as nourishment, gift, sacrifice. I've watched children chase each other round and round a parking lot in the heat of a pandemic. Spittle bugs and tipuana blooms rain blessings. I have sailed the dhow through mangrove forests of Lamu, holding my lover's hand. I have dreamed a dozen dreams on the holy gold where the ocean meets the land at the end. These are the days that happen to you.
Hello, we can't hear you.
You're disconnected.
I know I'm trying to text them to unmute. They unmuted them. They muted themselves. So I'm just texting them on WhatsApp. Sorry for that.
Okay.
Planting of trees and even reviving our climate reality, and we believe that any initiative at grassroots level impact, and we can see protection and organization that can be where we are planting trees and designing and using the area space to this is also to mitigate the impact of yes, still on.
We can, yeah.